Welcome back to the video. Today I'm in the woods. I'm in the south of England. I'm with my mate Lee. Lee knows all about mushrooms, so he's going to take us on a journey to find, forage, and hopefully cook up, maybe taste a few mushrooms. Let's see what happens. Let's go.
Look, Amber, what have we got?
This here is a chanterelle. Let's go get some more. So as we're walking around, we're finding lots of different species of mushroom. So I'm not a mushroom expert. That's why Lee, my good friend Lee, he's come along for the day and he's just come to show me around, show me a few different mushrooms that are out there that you can eat. One mushroom that I'm quite excited to find is a cep, one of those big, fat, juicy mushrooms. But so far we're about an hour, maybe 45 minutes into our walk, and we've not found any at all. But we'll see what happens. Hopefully we'll find some big ceps. And to be honest with you, I'm not super keen on mushrooms. I think it's the texture in the cooked mushroom that I really don't like. But I've got something in my bag that might make a raw mushroom that little bit more special. Let's see what happens. I've got a jar, I've got a chopping board, I've got a knife, but what's in the jar? You'll have to wait and see.
Classic oyster, beautiful, really, really tasty. And we're just going to pull it off like that. You leave the base on there, but it's only one, but it's very tasty. And you just, when you come to cook it, you just rip them apart. You should never really slice a mushroom, I don't think. You should always pull them. Same with the chanterelles. They just break apart nicely, and you can just put them into your food like that. Beautiful.
Nice. Let's move on. What I love about this ancient woodland are these old dead fallen trees that are left to rot, and they provide habitat for other creatures. One thing I really like, I think it looks really pretty, is that moss. It's beautiful. This forest isn't managed, it's just a giant, huge forest. And it's wild. You can really imagine this forest, this woodland, being just like it was hundreds, thousands of years ago. Beautiful. So Lee has just found a few more mushrooms, and I believe they're saffron milk caps.
So we got the pair here, which may look a bit odd and a bit gnarly, but these are so good. They have delicious in their name. Lactarius deliciosus. Absolutely stunning mushroom. Collected on the continent a lot more than they are here. In Spain and Italy, these are very sought after mushrooms, but we don't really think of them as being that it's kind of that edible here. They're the Lactarius family, so that means a milk cap, the common name, the saffron milk cap. They exude a saffron coloured milky sap from their gills once broken. As you can see, I just break them and it's just oozing that sap out.
Wow.
So it's a real good sign. Very, very tasty. And we've got another one just nestled in here. They really like growing in between these grassy tufts. Oh, there's one more there, look, as well. That one's actually, that was kind of just about to go over, but it's a beautiful specimen. They look gnarly, but they taste incredible. Beautiful mushrooms.
So Lee, what is this one? I don't think we talked about this one.
No, this one is especially for Dustin to try. So this one is in the Russula family. So one we talked about earlier. We found the beechwood sickener. So the Russula family. The common name is a Brittlegill because the gills are very brittle. This one in particular, I think, is a Russula purpurea, which just means like browny purple. Quite a, like, obviously very descriptive name, but I want him to just to try it and just nibble it, but don't eat it, don't swallow it, but just nibble it in your teeth. Quite nutty.
Yeah.
Quite tasty actually.
It is quite nutty. It's not too bad actually. Much nicer than a cooked mushroom.
So these are actually one of the you know, not one of the only ones, but one of the finest mushrooms that you can eat raw. They actually taste really good in salads. There's one I was hoping this one was it, but there's a very similar colour, but then it has a flush of a a flush of purple down the stem, and it's actually I'm laughing because he doesn't like it.
I just spat it out.
But there's one that I want to find him later, which is almost as hot as horseradish. So it's quite, now I've told him, obviously he's going to know, but it's quite good to do this. You give someone a purple mushroom, they're like, oh, that's really tasty. Then you find it again, and it's very hard to sort of see the difference in the stem. They eat that one, and then their whole face just blows up like a horseradish.
Oh, thanks. I'm looking forward to that one then. So we just spotted some more mushrooms, oyster mushrooms.
And you can hopefully you can see on the camera, these are good. They're just about to go over, but you can see all of the gnats that are growing around, flying around it. So when you find oysters, it's always good to tap them. That gets all the flies off of them. And then these are ones that you want to cut, just because the stems are quite tough. So these are beautiful specimens. Look at those. Absolutely stunning mushrooms.
So what have you got there?
So this is an orange birch bolete growing with these birch trees here. Easily, nearly as good as a sep. This is quite a small one, but I like them. If they open up too much, they can get a bit squidgy. So they're actually really good when they're small like this. It looks almost phallic, but they can have stems on them this sort of size. They can grow enormous. So definitely a worthwhile edible.
Oh look, more chanterelles. Beauty.
That is a chanterelle. Beautiful. So these are perfect, this sort of size. The common name for them is Yarole, which just really refers to the smallness of them. But these are beautiful in a pasta or whatever. Very tasty. Wonderful. So all the small ones, it's quite important when you're out mushrooming to try and not to get too what's the word, greedy, because you can quite often pick them while they're still tiny. So we have a look at these ones here. These are quite small still.
Yeah.
I often see people trying to pick them.
So what would you do? Would you leave those for next time?
Yeah,
or
exactly.
Would you pick them?
You give that a week with some rain, and that will be easily that sort of size in a week.
Well, like
So-
the size of the larger ones we found?
Yeah, exactly. So it's very important with all real mushrooms, I think, if they're really tiny still. One, it's important for identification, because you can't always, unless you know what you're doing, you can't always identify them until they're fully out. But also, you're going to triple or quadruple your yield if you wait.
So the trick is, don't pick everything.
Always leave a few.
Always leave a few. Right, we found another one. What's this? What's this one, Lee?
So this is quite an important mushroom, because it's called a blusher. So it's in the family of the Amanita. So they contain some of the yummiest, but also the most deadliest mushrooms known to man. So it's the same family as the death cap, the destroying angel, panther caps, which is not necessarily as deadly as a death cap, but the panther cap looks very similar to this. This is a blusher, and the reason it's called a blusher is because if it's been eaten by bugs or you bruise it, it will blush slightly pink on the stem and on the cap. So I'm not sure if you can see it on the camera, but there's a very slight pinky blush to it. So these are a very good mushroom to learn, not only because it's in the most deadly family. So it's always important to learn the most poisonous mushrooms first, I think, before looking at edibles. But it can, in wetter conditions, grow in enormous numbers. So it's definitely worth picking if you can. Oh my god. There's saffron milk caps.
There we are, saffron milk cap. Twins.
Beautiful.
Have a look at that. So what you do now, you're just trimming off the dirt.
Yeah, just that last bit. Because the problem is, if you fill up your basket, then it's it can obviously cover all the other mushrooms in your...
And I guess a lot of the dirt can end up down in amongst the gills.
Yeah, it's much harder to clean them at the end of the day. So time spent trimming now saves you endless hours at home. And actually, you know, when you're mushrooming, you know, I quite like living by the motto of waste not, want not. And usually what I would do is, certainly with seps, is I take them home dirty with the bases on, which a lot of people are a little bit like, why'd you do that? But all these bases, not this in this amount, I think, but with seps I certainly do all the trimming at home. So when I'm dehydrating them, I slice them all up, and all of the bits that are kind of, you know, all the scraps and gnarly bits, I actually salt down and make a sep chop. So it's like a sep ketchup, and it can actually be done with any mushroom that's edible. So you know,
you heard that, a sep ketchup.
Sep chop.
Sep chop.
So we'll show that on another video, because that stuff is divine, and that's just salted down. It's a very old recipe actually. It predates any kind of ketchup, because our modern idea of ketchup is this thick kind of gloopy, you know, tomato based sauce, which is obviously our classic tomato ketchup. But a real ketchups were actually much thinner, much kind of more saucy than what we think of now, the stuff you get in a squeezy bottle. So a ketchup is or a catsup. It's two different names for the same thing really. You can see on the base of there, there's a tiny little baby, very cute. So I'll put that back. He might well grow into a bigger one. And yeah, so a ketchup is actually originally a much thinner sauce than our modern Heinz
thick tomatoey sauce.
Other brands are available. You can see why these are actually a really good mushroom to eat, because they've got a good crunch to them. Quite a nuttiness. They're very, very tasty mushroom. And that's why you don't want to get them with the older specimens, those ones over there, the ones that have really opened up. We've left them because they've gone over. So as soon as these mushrooms open, they're going to be releasing their spores. But these beasts, there's no point really picking them unless you were making a sep chop or mushroom ketchup. So it's just best to leave them. Okay. You want them when they're nice and tight and crisp like that. Nice. So if they crunch when you cut it like that, then they're good. This is a fair old haul.
That is a good haul.
I'm going mushrooming with Dustin more often.
Hey, I found this patch.
And he's got a keener eye than me almost.
I found quite a few of them today, actually.
Well, we need a few more. I've got a feeling we're close to some more chanterelles. So
more chanterelles, and then hopefully end up with the big boy of mushrooms.
Our goal of the day is a seps.
Big fat sep.
Nice juicy one.
We'll get there, we'll get there. What are we looking for here? Chanterelles?
Chanterelles, yeah.
So is this a spot you've found them at before?
It is. It's somewhere I've picked for years and years.
Where are they?
Chanterelles. So this is a mad patch, but you can see it's just starting to dry up a little bit.
Oh yeah.
But they are chanterelles. Oh, the little money spider. These are cracking. And although they're starting to dry, it's actually made a job of dehydrating these actually much easier.
I guess, yeah, because you're going to just dry them out anyway.
So,
wow.
These are some, look at these thickies. Those are proper chanterelles. Very pretty.
Nice. I think we'll leave those. There you go, Lee, that's for you.
Oh, that's for you. Swap. There you go.
Thanks.
Oh, cute.
And this? water mint. Be good in the tea.
Very good.
So we've just come across some more mushrooms, and these are parasol mushrooms.
They smell like warm milk. Like simmering milk.
They do.
Weird, isn't it?
They do, yeah. Wow. Just needs honey. So we finally found what we've been looking for. One of these. However, Lee says this has slightly gone over, as in we're a day or two late. Let's keep looking and hopefully find a few more. And here's another. You probably could eat it, but we're looking for ones that are a bit fresher.
This is a nice one. This is called a Scarlatina Bolete. Absolutely stunning mushroom. And it's got a really crazy way of knowing what it is. Look at that blue. Wow.
Wow.
I'll show you again.
Wow.
Just as good. It looks poisonous. People think if it's red, it's going to kill you. But I know there is a poisonous Boletus, which is called Satan's Boletus. It's got a different colour cap to this, but I know this is a Scarlatina Boletus, and it's just as good as a sep. Especially now, it's really tight, really tidy. That's a nice specimen. Very good to eat and dry.
Nice.
Wow. Yes. But this one is particularly good. Look at this one. Oh, that is absolute pure perfection there. They call it, so the name Porcini means little piggy in Italian, and you can see the tradition is when you find one, you pat it. Little piggy. Look at how fat it is. Yep. Cheers.
Cheers.
Yes. Babelites. One's been eaten.
Where? Oh yeah.
Just there.
That's been eaten.
That is a beauty.
Nice.
Look at that. Really good at this young stage, and just as good as a sep. Just not as well known. Again, blush slightly blue, but beautiful.
Wow.
Yes.
So Lee's got two dogs, Jack Russells. They're called Oscar and Archie. And Oscar, as soon as he smells any wild animal, he is off. And it's quite hard to call him back. Wow.
That's what we're looking for.
Look at that.
So those two are probably, there's another stump there, look. Those two are probably a little bit gone over, but you can see how big he is. Beautiful.
Wow.
But he's just a little over. We want ones that are a little tighter than that. So that one, look, there you go, little piggy. If you can slap it, it's good. Yeah. Now that is just on the edge, just edible.
Wow.
But if that was any more yellow or squishy, it'd be gone over.
Oh, Lee, I dropped it. Sorry. We're in the woods, as you can see. There's this big bowl with lots of water down in the bottom. I think they do like off-roading around here or something like that, with like off-roading cars and bikes. But down there by this fallen tree, you can just about see 1, 2, 3 big, 5 big seps. Let's go check them out. Wow, look at that. There you are, look at it. I'm not the biggest fan of mushrooms, especially when they're cooked. I like eating them when they're raw. And I think we should have a little go at eating one of these raw. Well, we've got this one. I've just looked up, and on the top of the bank up there, a few meters from the top of the bank, you can see another one. Let's go get it. Right, it was quite easy to see from down there, but now that I'm up here...
This way.
And there's a few just by your left foot. Smaller ones.
Oh, these are hedgehog mushrooms.
Hedgehog mushrooms. hedgehog mushroom.
You can see why, because this one, instead of having gills or pores, has actual little spines you can see come off, very much like a hedgehog. It's quite immature still, but beautiful, beautiful specimen.
Wow, and a little deer hair to go with it. Oh. Wow, that is a good looking one.
Exceptional.
Well, we've just sorted through the majority of the mushrooms we found, and look, there's quite a lot here, quite a lot to eat. Lee's going to quickly go through what we have again, but have a look at this. This is what we came for, seps. We found lots of them. Not all of them that we found were in a pickable condition, but this one certainly was. Yes, there might be some damage from the slugs, squirrels, whatever, but still, I would really like to try this.
Very good.
I think we should have a go at eating this raw. Right, so I had an idea. As I'm not really keen on eating mushrooms, I thought I would try eating, well, seps. I would like to try eating a sep raw. So I've brought with me my knife. I've also brought with me some of this, which is a really tasty dip, but we'll see if Lee can work it out.
Ooh, a challenge.
And then I did have a chopping board, but I think we'll leave the chopping board out. We'll just use Lee's hand.
We're going to go straight on it.
And his knife as well.
So all I've done is trimmed up the base. You just take off some of that dirt, because often I find that where seps grow there's a lot of sand. You just knock some of that off. You should never wash a mushroom. Filthy. Filthy habit that is. Something your grandma does. Awful. Never wash it. Always brush them. So then once you're happy that it's all nice and clean, free of any bugs. Now you're never going to get rid of the maggots in here. So when you eat,
oh, there'll be maggots in there sometimes.
Not this one is very clean. You can usually tell by the base. If you cut the base and there's holy,
so they're
in there. Yeah. Okay. There isn't any in this one, and it should be crystal clear white. Look at that, absolutely beautiful.
Wow.
And a classic. If I hold your hand out, if the classic, beautiful kind of almost like a burgundy, like white, like red wine tinge to the outside. It's absolute beautiful SOMERSET. This is probably what we want to go for that one, I reckon.
That one, so shall I take?
Nice and thin, yeah.
Okay.
And then I've got one here. So,
well,
we should have a nibble for first raw. Absolutely naked. Wow.
Certainly a lot nicer for me than a cooked mushroom.
If you're not keen on the texture of a cooked mushroom, this is perfect because it's still got a crunch to it. It's nutty, isn't it?
It's very nutty.
It's really good. Let's have a dip. Oh, my sep's so big it won't fit. So I've got to guess what this is. Oh, this smells like you brought it back from a recent trip. Oh wow.
That's good.
Sesame.
Yeah.
Chili.
Yeah.
Ginger. No, garlic.
Garlic. And a bit of soy.
Wow.
Oh, dropped half of it in there.
It's warm. Wow.
Homegrown chilies as well.
Oh wow.
You know what? That's actually really nice.
Can't beat it.
So Lee, while I'm tucking into my sep and my my Asian dip, my Asian marinade, tell us talk to us, what do we have? What did we find today? What different species did we find?
So we've gone quite across a fairly wide range of habitats and probably found a good 10 choice mushrooms here. We've got your classic boletes, we've got a SOMERSET and your classic porcini. You can see the two slight different colours in the cap, both pretty much the same. We've got some beautiful oyster mushrooms here, which are, you know, classic oysters, like we said earlier. They're the ones that you can actually cultivate at home. This is quite a find because it's quite early. This is a hedgehog mushroom. This is quite an early find, really, at this time of the year.
Do they come later in the season?
They usually do. You usually get these at the tail end of the season, so it's quite nice to have.
Because we're still in August right now.
Yeah, which is mad. It's like, you know, really good time to get this many mushrooms. Is fantastic. So we've got the classic, or one of my favourites, the Saffron Milk Cap. You know, thought of on the continent as easily one of the best edible mushrooms, and like I said before, it's so good. It's got delicious in its name, very tasty. We've got some bay boletes, we've got some parasols. These are crackers.
These are beautiful.
So a shaggy parasol, not one that you eat with alcohol. So I get quite a lot of messages through at the moment about what should I cook this with? Can I put this into a stew, etc.?
Why would you not eat it with alcohol?
Because if you have a shaggy parasol, which is what this is, with alcohol, it gives you a bit of a crazy, either makes you sick, dicky tummy, or can cause hallucinations. So some people might quite like that, I don't know. This one is a butter bolete, or the oak bolete. Really, it's easily as tasty as a sep, and you can see the same family with the pores, very good. And like I said, we got the bay boletes here. Not quite as good as seps, but close. And then probably my second favourite choice edible is the chanterelles here, which are just beautiful. You can see these fatties here, really plump, and actually they smell kind of a light peachy kind of apricot smell. Really, really tasty. So and then one last one, which is easily one of my favourite raw mushrooms, second to the sep, is the Russula. So this is a charcoal burner. Like we mentioned earlier, the Brittlegills, they've got Brittlegills in them. So yeah, very, very tasty mushroom. Really, really good. And they actually hold their self when they cook. They don't go so slimy. They've got a nice crunch to them, quite nutty. So yeah, beautiful.
And of course, what we've come for,
the sep.
The sep, which we've just eaten, and it was extremely nice actually. I can definitely say, have a go at eating mushrooms raw if you're not that keen on mushrooms. Because tell you what, that was really nice, and with a nice dip as well. Hey, come on, who doesn't like a nice Asian dip? You must say, not all mushrooms are edible raw. Some, like a chanterelle, you must cook those before you eat them, otherwise they make you sicky. Some make you funny with alcohol, so it's a bit of a thing. So you need to know your mushrooms before you go. You need to come on a course, don't they? Oh, and where do we find the link to that? Underneath. Down below. Underneath. Have a look. Where the mushrooms grow, mate. Well, thank you very much, Lee. You guys are probably going to see a lot more of Lee in the videos. He lives quite close to me, he's a good mate of mine. And we will probably do a coastal catch and cook, something fun like that. Yeah, we've got a couple of weeks' time to do it. Lee is really into his foraging, loves his fishing. So I think we're going to make a great combo. It's going to be good. And this is just the start of the mushroom season now. This shouldn't even be here now, so we're going to have a big one. That is it. Amazing, can't wait. Guys, that's it for the video. Thank you very much for following the video the whole way through. I know I do put adverts in my videos, but it kind of helps me fund the channel and support the channel. Thank you once again. Please check out the links below for the courses. Check out Lee's Instagram, check out my Instagram below. And don't forget, if you are interested in any merch, I have got some merch as well. I know I'm new to the YouTube game, but come on, I thought I'd give it a try. Yeah, nice lanyards as well. Amazing. Guys, thanks again. See you next time. Cheers, bye.